What's up, everybody? I'm McKie Soho, and you are watching The Bridge, where we bridge the gap between everything black. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Lady D. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. You know, I'm happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
We're going to jump right into this thing because it's a great day to be a New Yorker, a great week, a great month. I don't know when the celebration for the Knicks stop, but it's...
Never. Now, we always talk about us New Yorkers anyway, but we really got something to brag about now.
Listen, we waited a long time, 1973, so we're going to be celebrating for a while.
Absolutely.
We got the next NBA dynasty, the New York Knicks.
Yes.
We out here, we outside.
They knew it was danger when that happened. Listen.
People make it hit, like, you know, Alicia Keys and Jay-Z, the Empire State of Mind record, got crazy streams. I don't know the exact number, but it blew the record back up. Everybody putting their records out. Everybody got their jerseys on. Shout out to New York City, man.
Yes, well-deserved.
Jalen Brunson.
Oh, he killed that.
MVP, 45 points in the game.
Well-deserved.
Represented hard,
too.
It's a great day.
Even Karl Anthony Towns, being from New York, like... Listen, That was, it's just so many layers of special moments within this whole story. The 53 years, all the things. It's like,
listen.
How can you not be happy?
I think the stars aligned. It was like every time you thought something was going, they came back again.
Yes.
They came back again.
Yes.
So, and let me tell you, I don't think nobody is happier than Spike Lee. This was Spike Lee's
I think
way.
Everybody thought about him first.
Listen, you thought the Knicks won, Spike won.
Yes.
Spike Lee was in my mind.
Same.
Spike Lee, shout out to you.
Shout out to Spike Lee.
Spike showed us all what real love
and loyalty is.
Through the ups, through the downs, through the hardships.
Mostly downs.
A marriage to the NBA, to the Knicks.
He's an honorary member as far as I'm concerned.
They were campaigning for them to give him a ring too.
I think they should.
I don't know if they sending Spike a ring, but
they should.
You know, hey,
I don't think anybody will be mad about that.
But then they're gonna have to start sending a lot of people rings. That could turn into a whole thing, and them rings ain't cheap.
No, not at all.
But you know, they could afford it. The NBA got it.
I think so.
I don't know how much those floor seats cost, but you know, the NBA they could pay it forward. They should have a ring just for like diehard fans, because there's like a super fan hall of fame that he's in. And so I don't know. Maybe they do give them rings. Yeah. I don't know what comes with being in the super fan hall of fame.
But he should definitely come out.
Spike is definitely.
Yes. He's the man.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, we living in this day and age of social media, influencers, artists. Everybody could take a note from Spike, because Spike was ahead of his time in a lot of ways, but Spike's genius, a part of this was his branding.
Yes.
The branding and marketing, how he tied his brand to the Knicks, to the NBA. The character Mars, I believe, is what like kind of started it all. Him pulling from his real life and his love for sports.
But she's got to have it, right?
Yeah, she's got to have it.
That's
right. He created that character Mars. Mars was a Knicks fan, loved wearing Jordans.
It's a parallel with his real life and the character. And it's like...
that brand. But I think that's where... When you can do that, when you pull from your real life and you kind of tie it into your art, I think that's where the success comes. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that 1,000%.
Listen, the Jordans, he had the campaign with Michael Jordan for sneakers.
Yep.
He was in the Jordan commercials. The Knicks, I mean, like I said, I think I'm seeing more Spike Lee stuff than Knicks stuff.
It's true.
So, I mean, I always
think of him with that hat, the hat that's flipped up.
Oh, yeah. What's that? I think it's the Brooklyn hat.
But it's just still him wearing the colors. He's always decked out and all the Knicks gear, the colors. Even if it's not Knicks apparel, it's, specifically, he's wearing the colors. He's just...
Spike is...
He don't play.
Honorary member. A lot of Knicks have come, a lot of Knicks have gone. But Spike has stood the test of time.
I wonder if the players look for him. They probably do.
He travels. Of course.
He travels. They'll be out of state. He's there. So they probably.
Yeah, I feel like Spike is back there.
He's a good luck charm.
He passes through the locker room.
Yeah.
I feel like Spike can go wherever he wants in the garden. Yeah, like he
don't need no clearance. He's there. He just
they already know. Oh, Spike is here.
Yeah.
He comes through the back with the players. Like, So actually, you know what? I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. Because we're talking about Brandon and stuff like that. Young Miami's record, I think she's like number 34, on the Hot 100 right now. Spin that.
How she get
Spin that shit.
That's all. And you can't get away from it. You can't escape it. It's everywhere.
I like to hear her say that.
Oh,
and I mean,
goodness.
let me listen. The record, the message is fucking terrible. The message is fucking terrible.
I can't deal with it.
Toxic.
very
message to the community.
Oh
but
my
like,
goodness.
I like the record though.
But what
I don't
about
know
it
what
do you
it
like?
is.
What do you think it is that you like about the record?
You know what it is? And the reason that I tied this to the branding conversation, because it's very on brand with Young Miami.
True. With the city girls.
I think Young Miami's calling in life was to be a comedian. That's why I think the podcast, the Carisha Please and all of that works so well because that's natural to her.
Right.
I think Cameron is like that too.
Absolutely.
Sidebar.
Yes.
And I think their first calling is like comedian personality and the music comes second to that.
Okay.
And I think that the song, it's like, not that, it's like an anthem to the ratchet, right?
And she's been
It's
doing
like
that.
an anthem to the ratchet, right? Where all my scamming ass niggas at? Spend the money fat. You know, this is not a positive message. I do think it could be problematic, right? Because the problem with it is, and I think that this is where people get up in arms, is that, oh, you're encouraging the young people, you encouraging young guys to be scammers, and you encouraging young girls to go find them a scammer so they could get a go-yard bag. And I get that. But my thing is this, right? Like,
they're doing it.
I was a huge fan. They do it already. Young Miami is it's reflecting. Her music is just a reflection of the million young Miamis down in Miami. Yep. She didn't create the game. Her godmother's Trina. This was the game before she got there.
Absolutely.
And she's just speaking on it. And if this wasn't what was actually going on in the streets, then she wouldn't have an anthem about it, and it wouldn't be 34 on the Hot 100. She made an anthem for all them girls down there that feel that way. Now, the problem is how we raising our kids, or how we, I'm not gonna say there's a lot of great things going on in our community, but if you feel like you are sick of hearing records like a Spin That or a WAP or whatever, then I think that it's a reflection on the job that we're doing, because those records couldn't become successful if young people weren't buying into them.
I think it's so far gone now. Like, I don't think there's any like way to revert the context of these, songs these days. Like, they've developed their own fan base. People are loving it. Like you said, the people that it speaks to, and it's become like this kind of, I don't know if caricature is the word, but it's like it's become a thing where people want to have this alter ego of like, yeah, I'm this nigga that's scamming, or I'm this bitch that's just getting all this money from these scamming niggas, or whatever the case may be. And it just seems like a fad, but then it's lasted longer than I expected it to last, honestly.
Right.
And to me, when this song came out, if I'm being honest with you, my initial thought, I was like, this is not going to take off. This sounds horrible. She sounds a mess. I can't stand it. And then you see it. It's going.
I knew it was going to go.
And I'm
because it was so on brand for her audience. She's speaking directly to her audience.
Yeah. I mean, the dude.
If someone else did this song, I don't think it would have took off.
It's her.
But because it's her.
Yeah.
And I think it fits. I think there's some level of comedy to it. It's like so ratchet that you like. You almost can't take it seriously. It's like when you see somebody dancing to it, it's like, of course.
I think that's what gets people singing it and all that. So you're absolutely right.
It fits. It's very on brand for her. And I think anytime the stars align like that for an artist, you can find something so on brand with what you do, and then the music is good. Because I think whoever produced it, the music is good. It's just the message.
It's one of those, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, and it's been working. So, hey.
But I think that, music, art just generally reflects society. And this is a conversation that happens all the time. It's like does the chicken come first or the egg, right? But I think art is just a reflection of society. And when society starts to change, and when we start telling our sons, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm not sitting here saying all young Black kids is doing, because there's a lot of positive images out there too. You know what I'm saying? But we got to start glorifying some of those too. And we got to start speaking on that. And let's make it cool to do something else besides rapping. Let's make it cool to, you know what I mean? And when that starts to become cool, Young Miami can't. So we were actually, a couple years ago, we were at the Revolt Conference.
Yeah, we were.
Young Miami, Saucy Santana on the stage.
Yep. Who else was there? Who else was there?
Who else?
Diddy.
Diddy.
He who shall not be named.
Diddy.
Diddy was there too. Go ahead.
Yeah, Diddy was there. And they calling up all these young girls and young guys too.
That's true.
Onto the stage to come bust it open one time.
We literally seen it.
And I mean, these young girls and guys was breaking their neck to get on that stage and bust it open for them. One girl fell over the fence and lost her shoe. trying to get up there. And I was going, yo, if that
Yes.
was my daughter,
Oh,
I would be disgusted.
what?
She would never leave her room again.
And I'm sure her parents had no idea she
would
was
never
doing all
leave
that.
her room again.
No.
Or maybe they did.
Or maybe they did.
Maybe they did.
Listen, kids are raising kids these days.
Because, you know, I got a lot of cousins that I know, and you can't say people do or don't do, that grew up listening to Lil' Kim and Foxy and Trina, this one and that one. But I don't think you would have seen them on stage busting it open at a Cash Money concert.
Yeah.
They knew when to turn that shit off.
Well, also the times have changed, i.e., you know, having phones and things being posted and all that. They might have been doing it back then. It's just that there wasn't a platform for us to see it right when it happened.
Well, people were doing it, but see, my whole thing was, the reason I brought that up was because when they called all those young girls and guys up to the stage, no one in the crowd moved.
Yeah. Right.
They would never do that again in their show because now they would feel the shift.
Yeah.
The shift in the culture. Mm-hmm. The shift that said, nah, we're not doing that no more.
Do you think that will happen though at any moment? I
think that there's gonna always be some level of ratchet, right? Like the 70s, while Marvin Gaye was singing about what's going on, Superfly was in the movie theater.
But what do you think made the ratchet tree, take off like that? Because you're right, there was always that black and white.
We just seeing it more. There's always been ratchet. Like, look at the movie Car Wash. Remember the movie Car Wash? It was so much ratchet shit happening in that movie. The prostitutes, the pimps coming through the car wash. Yeah. It was so much ratchet, glorifying ratchet activity. Yeah. Superfly, the Mac. This is all movies about pimping and hoeing and all of this kind of shit. So the reality is the ratchet is as long as there's a bottom, as long as there's a lower sector of society that's maybe not getting the information that they need to kind of elevate their way of thinking, there's always going to be a ratchet, and there's always going to be a Young Miami or
someone more conscious.
Someone who's because here's the thing too, right? And I think it's important for young girls to hear this, right? Like, Young Miami's not dating a scammer. Young Miami's dating music producers and executives in the music business and billionaires. She's not dating a scammer. So she just
maybe at some
she's
point
making music about what she's seeing, her audience, and she's feeding y'all.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I just think art reflects.
It definitely does. I just feel bad. Like, I wonder how there'll be a turnaround again. And like you said, things come in waves and there are moments and things like that. Right now, that ratchet rap is the meat and potatoes of everything right now. But for the people who are a little more reserved or more want to, put forward more conscious kind of art out there, I don't know what way that there is for it to turn around so that that's more appealing to the youth now. I think that this has gone on for so long that it's kind of become the norm. I mean, you even got white kids singing and doing all this stuff too. It's transcended. It's almost pop culture as well.
Well, it's also what the media puts out there, right? It's also what the media chooses to talk about, how they choose to talk about it, right? Like, we could have this conversation and break down the whole dichotomy of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Or we could just glorify it and shout out Young Miami and get some girls up here twerking and say, God, this is the, you know what I'm saying? The conversation's got to start happening.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we live in this clickbait, click farm society right now, and people go for what's easy. People go for what's selling. Nobody is having, I don't think, having the conversation.
Yeah, it's for the
moment.
You know
what I mean?
It's for the moment. What's going to be giving me the numbers and all the things. It's always a number game, no matter what.
Looking cool.
Yes.
It's all about what looks cool.
And
when it stops looking cool, when they call those girls up to the stage and two girls go up there, but there's a lot of black women standing, we need more of the Queen Latifahs and more of the Lady Londons out here who's representing in a classy manner, you know what I'm saying? And when there's more of those, you're going to feel a little crazy going up there to bust it open. But anyway, enough about Young Miami, because
I mean, congratulations to you, sis.
We not haters over here.
A win is a win.
Over here.
It's not my cup of tea, but when it works, it works. So I got to give her big ups for that. Like,
it is what it is, man.
Absolutely.
I've been itching for like a week and a half.
About what?
To talk about this Michael Jackson documentary. Now you see, we got all the Mike records up here. You know what I'm saying? These is the blueprint for pop culture as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And this Michael documentary right on the cusp of us celebrating him with the movie. Last time I checked, I think it was at 800 million.
Mm-hmm.
The Michael movie, and Netflix dropped this documentary. Now, I was kind of curious to see the documentary because I wanted to know, okay, well, what direction are they gonna go? We saw the other one, the Leaving Neverland,
Yeah.
and so I was curious, like, okay, is this gonna be a documentary that kind of just lays it all out? Are they gonna talk about, his ownership in the music industry, maybe the vultures that was out to get him?
I thought that at first
the
too.
origin of maybe where these rumors started. Let's see. Is it going to be fair, balanced? What are we doing?
Yes.
When I watched it, said, okay, this is just another one of those documentaries coming for the neck of the king of pop. And I think that you would be lying to say, unless you knew him personally, that when you see these documentaries or there's always a little piece in our mind, what is this real? Maybe, nah, and then you see it and you just like, nah. And so I watched the documentary and then I watched it again. I watched it for a second time because I wanted to kind of really look for the inconsistencies.
I couldn't even get to the third episode.
And there was some characters in the documentary that I wasn't really feeling. And when I watched it the second time, what stood out to me the most was the edits.
Yes.
I started paying attention to the edits.
That for sure.
And I said, okay.
So they had an agenda here.
They had an agenda here. And I remembered watching the Martin Bashir special.
Me too.
And I remembered him having the conversation with the little boy. And I've seen it since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that they clipped that scene.
Yes.
They clipped that scene with him. And if y'all are really interested, go on YouTube because it's on there. Michael Jackson with Gavin Arvizo is the young guy's name for the Martin Bashir documentary. It's the scene with him talking to Michael Jackson.
And sidebar, if you haven't seen it, he's the kid that had cancer. And Michael was housing him in the meantime while he was going through his treatment.
The basis of the whole second the Michael Jackson trial.
Yes.
He's the basis of this whole trial. He went to a psychologist, said that he was molested. The police got involved. And this is where the whole trial stemmed from.
This is after the family had already come out, talked about all the amazing things that Mike was doing for them and how grateful they were. And it's always somebody that at some point must have gotten to their ear or looking at other people that were trying to come out for him. Yeah, they had a history. They had a history
of the mother did this some department store where they caught them stealing and she accused them of sexual harassment, whatever, and they won the lawsuit. They got a big lump sum of money from, I forget what the store was.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the wrong
store, but regardless, it was a department store that
Yeah. So I went back and I had to pull that clip of from the documentary to see. And I mean, in the documentary, what they show you is Michael sitting with this kid and he's saying, they're talking about him sleeping in Michael Jackson's bed, and they cut a big chunk out the middle of it, and you hear the little boy say, and I didn't want to, but Michael said, if you love me, you'll sleep in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go back and look at the actual clip, what is actually said is Michael is saying he wanted to sleep in my bed. And so I told him I'll sleep on the floor and you sleep in my bed.
Yes.
And the young boy is saying I didn't want to take his bed. And he said, well, if you love me, you'll sleep in the bed.
Yes. They clipped that up.
Completely changes the perception. And when I realized that, it completely, I said, okay, there was definitely an agenda here, and it just gets worse through the course of the documentary.
Yeah, how do you make, like you said, there's clearly an agenda. How do you clip all that up? So that was an intentional thing.
Yeah, very intentional. And that's early on
like, let me take out at least 30 seconds of the conversation.
Because we want it to look like this.
I remember even like Macaulay Culkin was on Larry King years and years ago.
Yeah.
And he talked about how Michael Jackson had like a 2-story bedroom. So when people always think about the fact that, these kids are sleeping in his room, in the bed and things like that. But they're like, this is not your average bedroom.
Right.
This is a huge, almost like somebody's apartment or bigger. And it's like, it's 2 stories. And Macaulay Culkin said on Larry King, like, he slept on the floor.
Yeah.
He slept on the floor. And it's just, people think, he's in my bedroom or he's in my bed. And it's like, they automatically think of sexual things. And it's like, I was looking at something else too. There's actually, doc that I saw after this that I was looking at that I kind of stumbled across on YouTube as well. I'll get back to you with the name, but they were just mentioning how, at that time, people were hungry for the money, okay?
Yeah, always.
And that's always been the case. You see, like, the tabloids, that's when, like, National Enquirer and all those things were, like, super popular at that time. And it was like the stories would change based off of how much money you were offering.
Yeah, they pay these people, some of these people $20,000, $10,000.
Hey, but if you say that he touched you, we'll give 50.
Exactly.
We'll double
these
it.
are the people who they call to the stand to corroborate the story. It was just, you know, it was disgusting.
Very disgusting.
It was a journalist in the documentary, and I like saying the names because, you know, when it's us, they say the names, you know, accountability.
Yep, exactly.
But Diane, you know what? I got it because I don't want to even mess up the guy. I wrote it down. Diane Diamond.
Oh, Diamond. Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I got it right, but she was the one in the documentary. Telling a lot of stories, and when I watched it the second time, you gotta pay attention to the close words because they tricky. They don't want you to ever say, "Oh, they made this up." They whatever. They weren't there to be credibility. But everything she said in the documentary, and she was obsessed with him.
Yeah,
she was obsessed with him from
you can
early
tell from
on,
the beginning.
Camping out, trying to get a story. She was one of the people paying to get the stories. Mm-hmm. Everything she said, there was no actual proof. It was all. And I got these sources. I got this from one of my sources. You know, she tells this story. And while they were raiding his home, he was in Vegas, hiding out in the room, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol with a group of young German boys who don't speak English. And, you know, I got this story from a couple of my sources. Well, who are these sources?
Right.
I want to know who the sources are.
Exactly, because everybody can just throw out, I'm from a source.
Well, what my source told me.
Yeah, who's this source?
Who's the source?
Yeah, because I could say I had a source. Yeah. XYZ. Are we going to just go with what I said?
Exactly.
Like, anybody just throw that out. It just makes you sound important. It makes it sound like you're in the know.
Exactly.
And a lot of times these people are just making the shit up.
Yeah. And if you are a credible journalist, you know how to play the word game and stuff like that. And
I actually looked something up, too, where, like, the judge... They were saying like it was over like 20 different investigations that went on through the FBI. Yeah. There was actually no incriminating evidence that they found against Michael Jackson.
And there was another thing that they said in the documentary, and I'm not an expert in police work, right? Mm-hmm. But they said the first victim, Jordan Chandler.
Oh yeah.
They interviewed him and he described Michael Jackson's genitalia. Specifics about his genitalia, and when they did the search of Michael Jackson and looked at all his private parts and everything, that the description that the kid gave was spot on.
Yeah.
But my thing is, and I've seen a lot of movies. Usually the first thing they'll ask a victim was, is there anything specific? The Jeffrey Epstein documentary, all the girls described his private area. And that was what caused them to arrest him. That was one of the things that because that was a direct link. Like now we have something we could arrest you on. Mm-hmm. So if the description matched what y'all saw and it was so spot on, wouldn't they have arrested Michael Jackson right then and there? Everything he's saying is adding up. How would this kid know this? That's enough to arrest you until you go to trial. Mm-hmm. They never arrested him.
Yeah.
So, you know,
even
it was
with the
just
other things,
he
got acquitted with everything. It's just, they just want to see. And a lot of them, another thing I was seeing too, where people who know Michael, they were just saying he was really hard with speaking up for himself. Yeah. He would kind of just let things go. So a lot of those people knew it was going to be some hush money shit. Like, all right, well, don't cause a spectacle. Not because of guilt. It's because I don't feel like dealing with this. Yeah. You already have somebody who got the world on his shoulders, literally. You're always watching. You're constantly surveilled since young. You have your own things. Was he 100% in the head? Maybe not.
I mean, we all know Mike has some things going on. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe some kind of autism.
So he might have been a little on the spectrum.
But a lot of creative people are, right?
But I ain't listening.
A lot of creative people are. So, there's some kind of tism or something that's in there. Yeah. However, it's just like, they just fixated on... I know that he's not going to really make too much attention. Like even in the doc when they mentioned...
Well, you got too much to lose. Too much to lose. It's easier to keep it quiet.
Remember on the doc they were saying when he jumped on top of the van and he was like, when guilty people, they walk around with their head low. Right. And he was like, the reason why he jumped on the van and was like getting the crowd up because it's like, I'm not guilty for anything.
Let me show
y'all because I'm not going to walk around here with my head... Yeah, my head held low because I didn't do anything. Yeah. So it's a whole lot of hoopla.
Yeah.
And people that would, a lot of people got their payday.
They did.
Unfortunately, in the process.
And, but
I knew
that's why we brought the records out. Because we uplifted Mike on this episode.
It's always Team MJ over here.
To the King of Pop. There will never be another Michael Jackson.
Never, ever. And while we're here, too, before you move on, what's your favorite MJ album? Let's just we got to do it. And obviously, we know there's way more than the 3 that we're featuring right here. But what's your favorite?
I'm gonna say it's between, because my favorite Michael Jackson song of all time is "Rock with You," and that's on Thriller, right? And so, but after the movie, I got back to Bad. And I didn't realize how many.
Bad is my album.
Man in the Mirror.
My favorite Michael Jackson song is Another Part of Me.
Yeah. It's and just that's another part of me.
The Bad album. I always go back and forth with Bad and Off the Wall. But Bad is definitely number one. Off the Wall is my second.
But see, you know what else is on Thriller too? Human Nature.
Oh, yeah.
And that's number 2 for me. So
that made me cry at the theater too with that Michael movie.
Yeah.
When Human Nature came, I was doing so good the whole movie. And he did Human Nature. I was just like,
I got chills in the opening.
It's happening. It's happening right now. I started crying. I said I knew at some point, but
yeah.
And then where were you when you found out the news when he passed away?
Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
I was working in the kitchen.
We always know
Red Robin.
Wow.
I was working in the kitchen at Red Robin. It came on the radio. I can't even remember if we was like, I know we had cell phones at the time, but I don't think it was social media and everything. Maybe so.
It was social media.
But
was that 09?
09.
Yeah.
So I think we just maybe just getting into like Instagram, MySpace.
Yes.
But yeah, and it came on and it was like, Michael Jackson died. And of course that was everybody from that point on to the rest of the day. It spread through the restaurant. That's all everybody talked about.
Yep.
We sat in front of the news for weeks. Where were you?
I was on the way to a wedding. Me and my parents, we were going to Long Island for a wedding. And my dad always listened to AM radio. I used to hate it. That used to be the longest ride. I'm like,
AM radio.
AM radio. My dad always had his stations with AM radio. It was ridiculous. So we were on the way to the wedding, and then AM radio had a breaking news, and then it was like, oh, Michael Jackson's under cardiac arrest. So my heart sunk, but I didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's that? My mom was like, oh, shit. And they was like, oh, that's not good. I was like, what's a cardiac arrest? What does that even mean? They were like, no, that's not good. Usually when people are in cardiac arrest, there's no, coming back from that. And then maybe 10 minutes later, they came back with another update saying that he passed away. Mind you, it's a wedding party, a wedding. People had no idea. They're scrambling to make sure the guests and everything's set up.
Yeah.
Not until the reception, I'm boohoo crying. And then I go to the DJ and I'm like, Michael Jackson passed. He had no idea. I broke the news at the wedding. This is a true story. And the DJ I get chills thinking about it. No lie, he did like a 90-minute Michael Jackson.
Wow, what a moment.
He never stopped.
What a moment.
And me and my mom, we were in the middle of the dance, crying and everything. But I broke the news to the wedding people. They had no idea because they were just so enwrapped with what was going on. But I'll never forget that. That was, whew.
Yeah, Michael Jackson. Salute
in peace.
To the King of Pop. So salute to Michael Jackson. Another tragedy going on right now is this case of this teen Karmelo Anthony.
Man,
you know what I mean? Another injustice. They gave this kid 35 years.
That's ridiculous.
35 years for self-defense. All white jury, of course.
Yep.
And the first question that came to me, because they hate when we make it about race. They don't want us to make it about race. He's in violation of the law because it couldn't have been self-defense because they felt he was in a situation where he could have just ran away. He wasn't isolated. He wasn't confined. But I mean, the white kid, was it Austin Metcalf? He started the fight with this.
Yeah, him
this
and
kid.
his brother.
Yeah, him and his brother.
For the backstory, it was raining outside. They were at a track meet in Texas, right?
Texas. And
then I guess it started raining, and then Karmelo, even though he was from the opposing team, ran to get shelter from the rain. He goes underneath this tent.
Yeah.
And then Metcalf's brother said something first.
He shouldn't be under the tent or whatever it was.
It wound up turning into a whole thing, and then. Yeah. And
they started to say, like, well, he provoked the fight because the bullies who are coming and bullying him, he's telling them, he's warning them, if you put your hands on me, it's going to get bad for you. I'm going to show you what this could be. And so...
Yeah, because I'm here minding my business and you coming over here on some...
And they say these kids were known bullies. And another thing, too, that I know, they never dig into, when it's a white kid, they never dig into their background. When Trayvon Martin was murdered,
forget it. They went into the whole...
They did everything they could. They tried to overturn every stone, you know what I mean, that they could about this kid to try to make him look like less of a victim than he was, to try to make his murder not look like a murder. Exactly. You know what I mean? And they dug everything they could about him.
Time and time again.
Time and time again. Every one of them. Mike Brown. Anytime it's a black kid, they're gonna do anything they can to try to ruin your reputation in the media, to make this thing look like it's not as much of a travesty,
like he was on a road to destruction. And this kid, Karmelo Anthony, straight A's.
Yeah.
Like All-American, basically doing his thing, athlete. He played football and track.
Yeah.
Like, he was...
But I'm saying let's dig into the history of this kid, Austin Metcalf.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a tragedy. You know what I mean? I get it. You know, nobody wants to... both families lost.
Yes.
Both families lost at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And I would even go as far as saying, you know, maybe he did go to the extreme. You know, kids sometimes have indiscretions. Sometimes, you know, my son, anybody's kid, sometimes you teach them certain things, and then when they go out to the world, they don't demonstrate what you taught them at home. And so my kid has an indiscretion. I would hope that somebody in the world would give him some type of grace, even if it's one of his peers. You know, I don't think that because you have an indiscretion, his life should have been taken. I don't think that. But I think that 35 years is so harsh. And I think that if the roles were reversed and this was a white kid
who killed
being bullied by a black kid who killed the black kid, we wouldn't be talking about a 35-year sentence.
It's like, and he wasn't going against when the cops, you know, came and all that. He was cooperative.
Well, he probably never thought that it would come to this.
I did it. He said, I did
and I'm sure that his intentions wasn't to kill this kid.
Him, because they said even in the police vehicle, he asked, like, is he okay?
Oh, wow.
He asked those things. So it's like, that shows already intent. It wasn't that, but they say that this kid was bigger, like 2 times his size. He felt threatened in some way. We don't know all the dialogue that went back and forth. It's just so many things, and it sucks. It's sad regardless, no matter what way that you look at it. But it just, 35 years.
35 years.
And you know, Texas is one of them states, though.
Well, yeah.
Texas,
we know about Texas.
Yeah, it's one of those states, so you never know.
You listen.
But that all-white jury.
Whether we're on whatever side of it we're on, whether we defending ourselves, whether it's always, it never works in our favor.
Nope.
My heart goes out to that kid.
Yeah.
I do feel for the family. You know, no one deserves to lose a kid. It's the worst thing that could happen to a person. Everyone took a loss. But I hope that something can be done to get this kid out of prison, because he doesn't deserve to spend 35 years in his
ridiculous.
Life for defending himself, but being bullied by you know.
And I'm sure that there's so many different cases that we could look at that similar situations have happened
that
and
went a different way.
It went a different way. Even if it was a white on white crime, I'm sure things went differently.
It wouldn't have been as bad.
It wouldn't have been as bad at all. So, you know, it sucks these days. As y'all know, under the administration that we're under, it just gives people more of an outlet to do and say whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want to do.
And then that's just like, it's hard to sit back and watch, because then you kind of sit back and try to think like, what can we do? You know, we've done the marching, we show up at these different, you know, conferences, things like that, or state, you know, conversations that are happening just to make things aware and things that need to be changed in our communities and things like that. But it's like, they still try to silence us no matter what. So you almost start feeling like a lose-lose type of thing. But
a hopeless situation.
We got to keep going, though. We can't use those moments as losses every single time.
And the younger generation is the generation that changes the world. You know what I mean? The younger generation is the generation. I think that when we're dealing with this younger generation, you know, I was just reading something the other day that this generation has started the most businesses since the baby boomers.
I believe
they are in touch with business and they
because
understand,
there's more access to information.
Certain things. There's access to information with AI and things like that. And you know what I mean? You know, they're elevating in certain ways, but I challenge this generation to get back in touch with what's going on from the other side of the computer and get out there, march, see what's going on, get involved in your communities, because I think that we have to keep the conversations going.
Yeah.
It's important.
And unfortunately, there's some kind of like desensitization that happens.
Yeah.
Because it's happening so frequently that it kind of is like, oh, here we go again, like another story, another this. So like he said, keep on fighting, stand up for your community. Have the conversations amongst your peers.
NAACP the other day.
Oh.
It costs $30 to join.
See, that's not
but
even
that $30 is going toward a cause. You know what I mean? It's been fighting. NAACP been fighting for us I don't know the exact years, maybe decades. But I'm sure it's over 60, maybe 70 years, maybe even longer than that. The NAACP, the SCLC. So go join an organization, get involved,
find out how you can help.
Don't just stand behind the computer. And there's a lot of people out there fighting. There's a lot of soldiers for the community, and I don't want to discredit that, but I think that we gotta we gotta unify. We need more unity. We need more community. We can't keep tearing each other down and being our worst enemy. Because we all we got.
That's it. Literally, we all we got.
And speaking of us, BT.
Since we always got.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about BT.
I almost said FUBU.
Yeah.
For us by us.
Shout out to FUBU, though.
Shout out to FUBU, because that was a staple. Okay?
Listen, Bob Johnson created BT. I don't know. I want to say because I don't want to be wrong, but I don't. Who is it? Viacom owns BT now.
Viacom. They merged, so it's BT, VH1, MTV.
VH1. They all owned by Viacom, so it's not completely in our hands. But the content that they push out is still for a Black audience, and so we're geared toward a Black audience, and I do think that it's still an important platform for us as a community.
Yes.
And I also like what BT just did. They created a board of advisors. I think there was so much conversation. Last year, the BT Awards was very well done, very well put together. Kevin Hart killed it as the host.
Yes.
He had everybody dress up. I don't know if that was something that he put in motion or something he wanted based on him hosting and how he wanted it to look. But whether he did it or whoever did, if he did it, shout out to Kevin Hart. I know he's catching a lot of hell right now. But if he did do it, I love that. I hope that they implement that. I miss when people got dressed up and came out fly for award shows and it was a classy thing. And so we have the BET Awards and we have the NAACP Awards. And those are our two moments every year to celebrate the accomplishments of the people in our community. The stars
and we got to
of our
hold on
community.
to those because we lost the Soul Train Awards.
Exactly. We
so
lost
it's like
the Soul
we have
Train
to,
Awards. We lost the Hip Hop Awards. And so we got to hold on to those and we got to do them the right way.
Absolutely.
Last year, I think it was well done.
Me too.
Probably for the last 5 years before last year, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yep.
The people they were putting up there to represent us, it totally took a shift away from what we initially all
Black excellence.
Black excellence.
Yeah.
That's it. It was no Black excellence. Last year they brought the Black excellence back, and I'm excited to see what's going to be going on. I'm actually going out there for the BT Awards, so I'm excited to see what it's going to be this year. Yes. Yeah, and so that being said, they had this board of advisors. Queen Latifah's on the board of advisors.
Oh, I love that.
LL Cool J's on the board of advisors. Bob Johnson, and there's a few other people, but those were the names that popped out for me, and I love that. I love that they went out and they recruited some of the people that we look up to.
And they're in
some
the
of the
community.
people, they're in the community. Yeah. They understand the culture. They pick. I think those are the right people. The LLs, the Queen Latifahs, people who can somebody who can say, nah, we're not doing that. Somebody who could say there needs to be a dress code.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So there's a board of advisors, and I think that is definitely a step in the right direction. Maybe they got positive feedback about last year and wanted to make sure it continued to go in that direction.
Yeah, and I'm sure they saw the viewership go up tremendously. And I think the anticipation of this new one, not only with Drewski being the host, but just how well last year was done to now that people are looking forward to it. I keep hearing people, it's coming up.
I'm looking forward to it.
And even just on a media standpoint with like you earlier, you were talking about influencers and things like that. I heard like when you go, there's like a whole like like a welcome party. Like you have the whole weekend that you come in and they're making people feel good. You have different sponsorship and you seeing like local people in LA because a lot of times
is that
they
like
come
the BT experience?
Yeah,
The
so
BT experience.
I think all that, them incorporating those things too, it's bringing community back together, the excitement, all those things that go around that whole weekend.
There's a lot of great things going on in Black culture. You mentioned Drewski. I mean, I think that the definition of celebrity, what we've seen celebrities as in the past, is changing, right?
It is.
You have I can't remember who was it that said it, but like Drewski is just as famous as Michael B. Jordan. There was a time where the movie stars, that you the biggest movie star, Will Smith,
That's
Denzel, you know, you are the biggest star, right? Drewski has never been in a movie. Drewski has never I don't know if I'm sure he's done tours and things like that, but you know,
he
didn't follow the rules of how you would traditionally make it or to become a superstar. And I think we could say Drewski is a superstar. A lot of these influencers, Speed, Kai Cenat, these are the superstars of this generation. And so we got to acknowledge them, put them on the stage, stop shutting them out or making it, because the world is changing. In 20 years, all of the superstars that we look at that come to be are going to be coming from social media and people. I don't even think that you could have a successful music career right now if you don't have some type of personality on social media or an acting career or comedy. Like back in the day, you had to go to do the comedy clubs. Now you got to know how to make a reel.
Or remember back in the day when there would be people like A&Rs or scouts or things like that? With you having your own access to all your things, you can represent yourself. You learn, you could Google or whatever the case may be. You figure out how to edit and all that, and then you could take off. We've seen it. We've seen so many examples of this within the last 3 to 5 years of how it just boomed up. And these people, like you said, superstars, they're doing their own things, or they're in the movies and they've got these deals and they've had these opportunities for themselves that's only elevated their brand, who they are. Listen, you know, it all ties in.
I believe what we are in right now is we're in a stage where God is level. He has leveled the playing field, right? I think that for 50 years or since the beginning of Hollywood, it all started with Hollywood, right? Everything evolved out of that in the early 1900s. And I think since Hollywood was created, there have been gatekeepers. There have been nasty things going on behind the scenes of people standing in people's ways. The real talent not being seen because this person is sleeping with that person. And so this is the person who gets to the top. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen anymore, but I think that when you mess with God's work, he comes back. It always comes back around. And I think that we are in an era of enlightenment. I think it started with streaming. He broke the music industry with streaming, right? And so now you don't need a record label. Now you don't have to sleep with this person in order to be seen, because you could do it yourself. Anybody could put their music on Spotify. Has it made it a little more difficult in other ways? Yes. But everyone has the opportunity now.
And the access.
You had a dream of doing radio? Do a podcast. You know what I mean? He's level. I think God is leveling the playing field, and he's giving everybody an opportunity to have a fair shot in the entertainment world. He's moving the gatekeepers out the way. He's exposing the people who have stood in the way, and everyone has a chance. And I think we're seeing it. You know, we're seeing that. And the Drewskis, I think they're going to be the pioneers of this era. The Just Hilarious. I'm trying to think of somebody music wise who kind of came up through the social media ranks and have made it to that superstar superstar level. But there are a lot of music artists out here who are traveling, touring. You know, they may not be millionaires, but they're making 6 figures, you know, doing their music, and they don't have to be worried about being tied to a slave deal. They don't have to be worried about ownership.
I think one of the good things and the beauty of it is the access, like we talked about, how the world has changed, and like social media and things like that, or just internet and all those things, that we have this instant access that we can have that a lot of people didn't have back in the day. Then you have the storytelling of just examples that you've seen through generations of, you know, people who it might not have worked out for them when they did this way, or you hear about these deals, like you said, that worked out. So now people are just more focused on taking matters into their own hands. Let me do the research, let me put the work in, and realize that I don't need X, Y, and Z over here to do this in certain things. Of course, you're going to always need a team, of course, but you could do this on your own without a mega conglomerate behind you. You could start from the ground up and actually get the wave quicker than you would back in the day when you were trying to do it by yourself.
Even with acting, right? And I think, there's Hollywood, right? But now you got Netflix. Now you got Hulu. It's a million series
Tubi.
out there. I could count on both hands friends who have gotten parts in major series and things like that. So many people, because there was a time where we all watched the same 5-10 movies every year, the same movie stars for 20 years that we only talked about. Now, some of these people, you may not even know their names, but you've seen them in a bunch of movies on Netflix. You've seen them in a bunch. So the door is wide open.
Yep.
The door is wide open. And also something too, I wanted to clarify, going back to the BET Awards. So I was hearing a lot of talk about Teyana Taylor receiving an Icon Award. So of course I had to go do the research myself. And I just want to break it down because she is receiving an Icon Award, but they've broken it into 3 categories.
Okay.
And so there was all this conversation. Has Teyana Taylor put in enough work yet to be considered an icon? And I think when we think icons, we think Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, even somebody, let's say Usher or Mary J. Blige or people of that, you got 30, 40 years in the game. Well, what it is Teyana is getting Icon of the Year, right? So that's Icon of the Year. She had the successful movie. She put out her album. Then they have the Living Legend icon, which is going to be Lauryn Hill.
Oh, I like that.
And then they have the Ultimate Icon Award, which is going to be Sylvia Rome. And so it's broken into 3.
I like
they're
that.
Honoring 3 different icons. And I love that because it's bridging the gap.
And it ties it all.
It's bridging the gap. You see what I'm saying? You like how I did that?
A little birdie I know is trying to bridge the gap as well.
You like how it
all came together.
So
I'm so glad that you broke that down for me too, because I actually was one of those people that had my eyebrow raised like Teyana Taylor. Because I'm also kind of like, you notice like every now and then there's somebody that seems like super pushed.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we knew about this person. Teyana's been around forever.
Right.
But then all of a sudden it's like, wow, there's just so much Teyana Taylor. What's going on? Like what is the agenda with Teyana Taylor?
Listen, and this is something that I feel very strongly about because I've implemented it in my own life. And I think that it's important for everybody out there, whatever you're doing, you cannot be afraid to pivot.
Yeah.
You cannot be afraid to pivot because you can spend years and years getting in your own way, blocking your own blessing, all because you didn't want to take the right turn that God was trying to push you in to receive the blessing that he was trying to give you. Even myself, I think probably 80% of the people who want to be in the entertainment world, you first are inspired to be an artist.
Yeah.
First you say, okay, maybe I want to be a rapper, a singer, an actor, whatever it is. That's the go-to. And if you're really serious about it and you keep pursuing it, you start to get other opportunities. You start to have other experiences. You may realize like, hey, I enjoy this aspect of it, but I don't enjoy that aspect of it. And there's some people who just don't realize. You got to keep it real with yourself. And that's another thing that people have a hard time doing, keeping it real with themselves. Oh, I always wanted to be this. And so I'm just going to keep. There's people out here fighting to be singers that don't even like to perform. Rappers that don't even want to get on the stage. That's your job. Your job is not to be famous. If you want to be a singer or rapper, your job is to get on the stage and perform and rock the crowd and entertain this audience that paid money to come out and see you. People want to be singers and rappers so they could dress up and make videos for Instagram, which is a part of it now. But your job is to entertain.
Yes.
And they forgot that. People want to be comedians but don't want to get on the stage. You know what I mean? And sometimes it may be not necessary in certain cases, but going back to my point of pivoting, you cannot be afraid to pivot because you could be missing your blessing trying to go after what you want while God is trying to give you what you need.
You're right.
Tiana's
a perfect example of that. And you too.
I love creating music. I love making music. I enjoy performing, but I don't want to ever feel like I have to tap dance all the time. That's how sometimes it can feel to when you are being forced to be on a stage and you don't want to be on a stage, then it feels kind of like tap dancing.
Yeah.
And I realize that, I love creating music. I'm very passionate about music and I even love performing sometimes. But when I realized that I didn't want to do the work to have to be on the stage all the time, I had to be real with myself and say, okay, maybe being a performer is not your number one thing. But what I do love doing, I love talking to people. I love people.
Yeah.
I love shedding light.
It's just beautiful to see the full circleness of it.
Listen,
the pivot that brought you here right now, there might be another pivot that makes things even bigger. You never know.
Just be.
And it's not limiting yourself to just one or two things. You could do it's do whatever you want.
Listen, you come to a point in life, I think, where if you are a religious person or you are somebody who actually has faith, you come to a point in life, and I think it might be somewhere like in your early 30s, where you start to go, you know what, I'm just gonna let God take the wheel.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop getting in my own way, stop trying to do this because it's going to make me money, and actually start just looking at the doors that God closes as not closed doors, but blocks to move you over here so that you could get what he's trying to give you.
Yeah.
And I think that once you get on that path and once you just kind of start letting God drive the car for you, you'll get to where you're supposed to go. And that's where I'm at in my life. You know,
and
what I
not
mean?
being afraid to explore your passions. I think when we're young, we're passionate. And just you're not even just being young. This is a person, you can be super passionate about things. Then things may not go the way that you want it to do, so that you lose that passion and you settle for other things.
Well, people get in your ear. There's a lot of noise.
But you got to make sure that you stay tunnel vision for what you're passionate about, the things that you want.
And so you stick with that, and then you start asking yourself the question: what am I willing to work? What am I willing to get up every day and do? What am I willing to do for hours and hours on end?
Because it's going to take some kind of
nobody's
sacrifice.
Applauding for me and nobody's clapping for me.
But I know.
What am I going to still be able to get up and do while nobody's watching?
That's a great point.
That's the thing that you need to focus on, because that's the thing. That's what's going to get you there.
You're 1,000% right.
So you got to be real and say, if you ain't willing to get up and make your Instagram reels, and you not willing to be on social media every day and promote your music and tell everybody about your music and perform on the street corner and perform at all these
maybe you don't want it as bad as you think.
And get out there and let people know Michael Jackson was going to be Michael Jackson
no matter what,
because it was just in him, and he was going to perform on a car or perform on a stage.
That's right.
Wherever he was at. And if you ain't willing to do that, then maybe that's not what you were supposed to be doing. Are you willing to do the work? And if you're not willing to do the work, then that's probably not the thing that you should be going after. Figure out what you're willing to do the work to do.
Sidebar too, I just think sometimes this instant gratification thing is an issue.
Yeah.
So it's like, because there are people whose maybe route might not look the same as yours. Maybe he got here quicker than the other person, or don't compare yourself. Everybody's story is theirs, and their lane is their own lane. So it's important for you to just keep that tunnel vision for what works for you, and you keeping, true to what God has aligned for you, and focus on that and nothing else.
Absolutely.
Because instant gratification is cool sometimes, but
not
sometimes
real.
It's not real. I agree. And it's instant. So as quick as it comes, is as quick as it can go.
There's no overnight. There's no overnight success. Anybody who had longevity in the game, they put in work for years and years and years. Michael Jackson, you saw the movie. How many years did they have to perform and rehearse in their living room before they got to the Apollo, before they got to Motown? But when they got there, they were ready because they put in the work.
Yes.
They put in the work.
And
nobody's an overnight success. They put in the work. work. And I guarantee you, I challenge you, anybody who you think is an overnight success, do some research and you'll figure out they were singing backup for somebody for years. They was performing in clubs for years before. They put in the work. And the people who didn't, they come and they go.
They come and they go. And we've seen it. So, yeah.
But yeah,
whoever needed to hear that message, that was for you. It was for me. The message was for me. No, I'm kidding. But no, you speaking nothing but facts, but it's true.
So that is going to conclude this episode of The Bridge.
I'm so happy I've been here with you.
Fun.
Yes.
I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. Likewise.
This is one of my co-hosts, my regular co-host, Lady D. Y'all go follow her.
Yes. My handle's at @simply_DEE.
That's right.
But I'm Lady D all day, every day. So yes.
That's it.
New York, stand up.
New York, stand up.
Let's
New
go.
York, New York.
Yes.